Today on Inquirer, International Criminal Court resumes probe on the Philippines drug war during former President Rodrigo Duterte's administration. Justice Secretary Remulla calls move an irritant. Department of Migrant Workers assures Kuwaiti employer of slain overseas Filipino worker to be blacklisted. Gasoline, diesel prices likely to increase again by over 1 peso per liter next week. And no more libreng sakay in 2023. Discounts to be offered instead, according to the LTFRB. Good evening. The International Criminal Court resumes probe on the Philippines' bloody drug war during the time of former President Rodrigo Duterte. Here's our Justice reporter, Tech Torres Tupas, for more details. Tech?
Neil, pre-trial chamber of the International Criminal Court granted the prosecutor's request to resume investigation on the Philippines' war on drugs during the administration of former President Rodrigo Duterte. In a statement Thursday, the ICC said, quote, "The chamber is not satisfied that the Philippines is undertaking relevant investigation that would warrant a deferral of the court's investigation on the basis of the complementarity principle," unquote. The ICC said despite submissions and materials from the Philippine government, ICC prosecutor, and the victim's observation, it does not show efforts on the part of the government to conduct a thorough investigation. In response, Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla called the move an irritant, saying he will not allow the tribunal to impose upon a sovereign country. According to Remulla, the Philippines has a functioning judicial system and they are doing what they can to improve the system. Remulla admitted that there are many limitations as to the cases that the authorities are currently looking into, but they are in the process of fixing the system.
I don't see where they will come in, what role they will play, unless they want to take over our legal system or they want to take over our country. And I don't see that happening. Definitely, I do not welcome this move of theirs. And I will not welcome them to the Philippines unless they make clear that they will respect us in this regard. I will not stand for any of these antics that will tend to question our sovereignty. Our status as a sovereign country. We will not accept that.
Meanwhile, Senator Ronald Dela Rosa, who was chief of the Philippine National Police during Duterte's term, said he is, quote-unquote, not worried about the resumption of the ICC's investigation into the Philippines' war on drugs. Dela Rosa told INQUIRER.net in a message that it is up to the Philippine government if it will allow such interference. He added, however, that the government has been consistent in denying access to proceed with the investigation. Neil?
Tech, so in the middle of this issue is a former President Duterte. So have you heard anything from President Duterte regarding this issue?
Former President Rodrigo Duterte, through attorney Harry Roque, said he actually reiterated his position that he will never allow foreigners to sit in judgment of him as long as the Philippine courts are willing and able to do so. So that is basically the same stand of the DOJ.
Ted, so let's talk about the ICC. So what if the ICC, despite this reaction from Philippine government officials, decides to continue their investigation? They come here to gather more evidence. So what is going to be the response of the Philippine government?
Justice Secretary Remulla said he will not welcome the ICC, but unless the ICC will respect the judicial system of the country. But he said the government is willing to have a dialogue with the ICC regarding this issue.
Okay, thank you, Tech. That's Tech Torres Tupas reporting live. The Department of Migrant Workers assures that the Kuwaiti employer of slain overseas Filipino worker Julie B. Ranara will be blacklisted. To tell us more, here's our Foreign Affairs reporter, Daniza Fernandez, reporting live. Daniza?
The Kuwaiti
Daniza, we cannot hear you. Okay, go ahead.
The Kuwaiti employer of slain overseas Filipino worker or OFW Jollibee Ranara will be blacklisted, the Department of Migrant Workers or DMW assured the public on Friday. Ranara, 35, was killed by the 17-year-old son of her employer. Her body was burned and abandoned in a desert in Kuwait. DMW Secretary Susan Ople said in a press briefing that the employer will definitely be blacklisted following the murder. Currently, the employer is under preventive suspension, DMW Undersecretary Bernard Olalia said. Meanwhile, the local and foreign recruitment agencies are facing recruitment violation cases and disciplinary actions. Investigation on the recruitment agencies is underway, Olalia said, and if proven that they are negligent, sanctions will be imposed. Meanwhile, the family of Ranara is requesting for an autopsy by the National Bureau of Investigation, Ople disclosed. The remains of Ranara will be repatriated back to the Philippines tonight. The Kuwait media, citing an autopsy report, said last week that Ranara was raped and was pregnant. Ople, however, said that she personally has not seen the official documentation indicating that Ranara was raped or impregnated. The suspect has already been detained by Kuwaiti authorities. The wake of Ranara will start on Sunday, January 29, according to Ople.
Denisa, some have raised the possibility of imposing a deployment ban on Kuwait so as to protect the welfare of OFWs. So, what is the government stand on this matter? Are they open to the possibility of imposing a deployment ban on Kuwait?
Neil, for now, the government, through the DMW, said that they believe in social dialogue and they wish to resort to labor diplomacy. According to Ople, imposing a deployment ban would take away the opportunity for reforms and resolutions to be made. She said that there is a working, productive relationship between the Philippines and Kuwait that can be further enhanced not by imposing a deployment ban, but by revisiting the existing bilateral labor agreement.
That's Denisa Fernandez reporting live. The Libreng Sakay program in EDSA may no longer be revived this 2023 amid inadequate funds, according to the Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board. The LTFRB is eyeing to instead offer discounted fares to commuters. LTFRB Chairman Teofilo Guadiz III has explained that in order for them to include all public transportation, considering the limited budget, discounts will be given as an alternative. The Department of Budget and Management allocated a total of 1.28 billion pesos to the LTFRB for the supposedly free ride program. To recall, the Libreng Sakay program was discontinued on December 31 of last year when funds were used up. The Libreng Sakay is a joint program of the Department of Transportation and the LTFRB to help commuters amid rising prices of commodities and services. Next on Inquirer Today. Department of Foreign Affairs says China responded to 71% of the Philippines' diplomatic protests over sea dispute. Philippine Coast Guard rescues crew of Chinese fishing vessel in Eastern Samar. And the gasoline and diesel price is likely to increase again by over 1 peso per liter next week. This is Inquirer Today. We'll be back shortly.
Patuloy man ang pagmahal ng sibuyas, hindi ito mahihigitan ang pagmamahal ko sa iyo.
Actually, idea ko yun. Nag-iisip kasi ako ng souvenir, ano kayang ibibigay ko na magiging useful sa mga bisita. Kasi sa mga nakikita ko sa normal wedding, mga displays, tapos kung ano-anong mga pinapamigay. Tapos naisipan ko, kasi ang dami naming sibuyas. Kaya sabi ko sa kanya, parang what if sibuyas na lang ang ipamigay natin?
Family business kasi yun ni Mrs. Naisipan lang niya namin na i-share yung blessings na natanggap namin since sibuyas talaga yung naging source of income nitong mga nakaraan. sibuyas yung naisip namin. Since palayo kasi yung naging venue ng wedding namin, lahat ng bisita namin is from North,
Ilocos and
Ilocos
Bulacan.
and Bulacan. Nakita namin naman ng mga nakaraan, talagang trending si sibuyas. Na halos lahat ng post sa
Kamag-anak.
Facebook, lagi sinasabi, onion is gold. So naisip namin, para ganahan sila din pumunta doon sa wedding namin, hindi sila magdalawang isip. So, ginawa namin talaga yun na free yung onion para pag uwi nila, masaya naman silang uuwi.
Parang ang ginawa lang namin, in-announce lang namin na meron kaming pasibuyas. Which is effective naman kasi meron yung mga mag-anak lalo dito sa Bulacan na mga pumunta dahil mamimigay kami ng sibuyas.
Tuwan-tuwa sila eh.
Oo, sabi nila ito daw yung nakamahal na souvenir na natanggap nila. Meron yung mga negative comments na ginawa lang daw yun para mag-trend,
Pasikat.
mag-viral o magpasikat. Tapos sinasabi nila na sana yung ibinili ng sibuyas ay ibinila na lang ng ibang bagay. Kaya ginawa namin yun. Para makatipid na din sa wedding kasi instead na bumili pa kami ng other souvenirs, meron naman kaming resources na free na kukuhanin lang namin dito. Kaya yun na yung pinamigay namin. At least magiging masaya pa yung mga bisita kasi syempre sa sobrang mahal ng sibuyas ngayon. Talagang masakit sa bulsa bumili.
Pinansin kasi yung sibuyas kaysa doon sa isang giveaways namin na yung perfume. Mas gusto nila yung amoy sibuyas.
Amoy sibuyas kaysa sa magpabango.
The Department of Foreign Affairs revealed that China responded to 71% of the Philippines' diplomatic protests over Beijing's aggression in the West Philippine Sea. Denisa Fernandez fills us in with the details. Denisa?
Yes, Neil, China has responded to 71% of Manila's diplomatic protests over Beijing's aggression in the West Philippine Sea and the South China Sea. According to the Department of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Teresita Daza, the Chinese embassy in Manila was the one who responded to the protests that were filed from 2020 to 2022. The Philippines has filed a total of 461 diplomatic protests against China since 2016. Of the figure, 262 were lodged from 2016 to 2021, 195 in 2022, and 4 so far this year. In 2016, the Philippines won the arbitration case against China. The Permanent Court of Arbitration ruled that Manila has sovereign rights over the West Philippine Sea, invalidating Beijing's 9-line claim in the South China Sea. Despite the ruling, however, Filipino fishermen still report cases of harassment by the Chinese Coast Guard within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone.
That's Denisa Fernandez reporting live. The Philippine Coast Guard rescued today 7 Chinese crew of a fishing vessel after it took on water and tilted to one side in the waters off Suluan Island in Eastern Samar. This after the PCG Command Center received a report on Thursday regarding a Chinese fishing vessel that had a damaged hull, causing it to be listed. After rescuing the crew and ensuring that they were in good physical condition, a PCG ship proceeded to tow the Chinese fishing vessel en route to Tacloban port. In a statement, the PCG said they render aid to all judicious users of the seas within our search and rescue region. PCG spokesperson Armando Balilo said that there were reports that the Chinese vessel has been roaming around the sea for 4 days. Balilo said they are yet to determine if the Chinese could violate the law with their presence in Philippine waters. He told reporters the Chinese might have just been looking for a safe place to go. A bit of bad news for motorists. Prices of petroleum products may rise by over 1 peso per liter next week, according to an industry source. The pump price of diesel may go up by 60 to 80 centavos per liter, while that of gasoline may increase by 1 peso and 20 centavos to 1 peso and 40 centavos per liter, according to the source. The source made the estimate based on the 4-day average prices in the global market from January 23 to 26. In the previous week, the price of gasoline was raised by 2 pesos and 80 centavos per liter, while diesel prices saw an increase of 2 pesos and 25 centavos per liter. Based on the Department of Energy's price monitoring, the net increase so far this year is at 5 pesos and 90 centavos per liter for gasoline and 2 pesos and 5 centavos per liter for diesel. Alamin naman natin na mainit na balita sa mundo ng showbiz kasama si Pauline Del Rosario ng Bandera. Pauline?
Hello Neil at sa mga kabandera all over the universe. Heto na nga ang latest chika. Ayaw nang makipagkaibigan ng aktres na si Bea Alonzo sa ex-boyfriend na si Gerald Anderson. Yan ang inamin ni Bea matapos siyang tanungin sa isang episode ng Fast Talk with Boy Abunda kamakailan lang. Ang dahilan ng aktres, hindi raw ito marunong umako ng kasalanan at hindi na rin mapagkakatiwalaan. Sa kabila naman nito, sinabi ni Bea na ang breakup nila ni Gerald ay bahagi na lang ng kanyang nakaraan. Taong 2019, naging kontrobersyal ang hiwalayan ng dalawa matapos ibunyag ni Bea na bigla na lang siya hindi kinausap ni Gerald. Noong 2021 naman, sinabi ni Gerald na hindi siya ng ghost kanino man at inilarawan pa ang relasyon niya kay Bea na very toxic. At yan ang latest bandera chika natin for today. Thank you, Neil!
Thanks, Pauline, and these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.